on how I would Okay. Thank you, Evan, again for agreeing to meet with me. I'm really excited in working with you and showing you what I will do and how I will more than make up for my commission if you do decide to go ahead and list a property with me. Again, it's no obligation. And that's just something that I want to make sure to highlight in today's conversation. And before we get started, I want to assure you too that my number one priority here is very simple. It's to sell your home. Yeah. Do you do that with the FSBOs? You do. Okay. So, and I want to again assure you that my role as a real estate agent for anyone, not just you, but for anyone, is to sell homes for the most money possible in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle. And ideally, that is what you are looking for, isn't it?
100%. Yeah. So, I mean, I've thought about hiring an agent, and so I guess I'll listen to what you have to say.
Absolutely. Exactly. So you've thought about hiring an agent. However, obviously you listed it by owner because somewhere you want to make sure that you maximize the value and the profit you walk away with your home, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. Absolutely. And I completely understand that. And again, I do appreciate being able to be here and make my case for how we will still be able to do that, even by bringing me on as an agent. And I want to begin this conversation by sharing with you some research. So are you familiar with the National Association of Realtors?
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's great that you've heard of them. So the National Association of Realtors, they obviously manage all of us real estate agents, and they also study the real estate residential industry very closely. And every year that they've been around, they do studies on all the different transactions and sales that have taken place. And what they have found is of all the national real estate sales nationwide, only about 8% of those are actually for sale by owners. And does that kind of hearing that, what do you initially think?
Well, so what do you mean? Only 8% of the sales? That's I guess that's kind of a small portion. So
Yeah. So the majority of the sales, 92% of the sales, those are transactions that are handled with an agent. And so that's an agent not only on the buyer side, but that's an agent on the seller's side as well. So that takes place across 92% of all transactions that are out there, while only 8% of all transactions really involve a buyer and a seller working one-on-one together.
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that too, the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, what they also went and found out was as they're researching all these different transactions that are getting processed by agents, they also found that for sale by owners on average sell for 26% less than an agent assisted sale.
26% less, huh?
26% less. And so, yeah.
Well, so what does it have to do with the 92 and 8%? So, I mean, is it because of that or?
So, and that's a great question, Evan. And you're absolutely right. It is because you have 92% of all transactions being conducted by real estate agents or with real estate agents. That's why that remaining 8%, they are only selling for 26% less than agent assisted sales.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to base the sale of my house just kind of on one statistic. You know what I mean? Like I see
Yeah.
what you're saying, but everybody else is different. You know what I mean? There's an average, and even if that's true, every for sale by owner is going to sell somewhere around there, maybe above, maybe below. So I don't really want to, you know what I mean? That's just one statistic. So.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And I would never suggest you base such a huge decision on just one statistic. I mean, you'll agree that statistics, obviously, they can say almost what you want them to say at the end of the day. I mean, we watch the news and it's like one day chocolate is good and the next day chocolate is bad for us, right?
Yeah, I see 100%. Yeah, definitely got to watch out for studies and things like that. So
absolutely. And especially too, I mean, we're in Los Angeles, so one of the hottest markets. And so you might be thinking, well, how does that play out here? It's probably a lot different than it is nationwide. And
Sure.
at the same time too, Evan, let's kind of step back and think about, put ourselves in the shoes of a buyer in order to understand why there might be a difference. Maybe it's not 26% difference, but why there is still a significant difference between the price that for sale by owners sell for and the price that agent assisted sellers get. And one of the primary reasons is, I mean, you have made the decision to sell your property on your own because you wanted to save money, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And now, if you put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, if you're able to purchase a, so, oh no, okay, step back, step back, step back. Okay. Okay, so put yourself in the shoes of a buyer. Now, when it comes to buying a home, obviously it's a very tedious process. I don't know if you remember what it was like buying this home that you're in right now.
Yeah, I mean it's stressful. It's moving isn't fun, I guess. You know what I mean? So it can be, but it's not at the same time. So
Exactly. It can be fun and it can be exciting, but it's very stressful to say the least. And then you have to manage this whole transaction on top of that. And
mhm.
and it's the same thing with every other buyer that's out there, which is why they specifically look to work with real estate agents to help them find a home to purchase. I mean, they're working full time. Most buyers are not like you and I who have the flexibility to manage our schedules. They're on a set schedule. They may have kids. They have a lot going on. And so it makes sense for them to use an agent to help them in this process because, I mean, first of all, they're not paying for that service out of pocket, right?
Well, so I mean, yeah, I kind of understood that, and yeah, I wasn't really like so buyers don't pay for the agents at all, like ever.
No, no. So buyers don't pay for the commission. They don't pay for that. That's something, again, that
That's
the
always how it
seller,
goes.
I mean, there are always exceptions. There are exceptions to every rule. And then usually that happens we're talking like multi-million dollar deals. That's where you'll see, and commercial real estate, you might see a $5 million gas station where the buyer is willing to pay their agent just to
Okay.
close the deal quickly. Yeah. But when we're talking about on a residential level and really a personal level where we're dealing with just the average home buyer out there, most of them use a real estate agent. And that's because the commission for that real estate agent that is doing all of this work, that is driving them to 10 different properties and showing them hundreds of homes on, like, emailing them constantly over months time period, that agent is getting paid by the listing agent who is sharing their commission, which is provided by the seller.
So basically, I'm paying, right?
What you're paying for, absolutely, absolutely. So that's what you're paying for. You're paying. It's a form of marketing. It's what you do in order to bring in those 92% of buyers who use an agent.
Yeah, so I mean that's why I'd rather just avoid agents and not have to pay 3% because 3% is like tens of thousands of dollars for me. So that's why I don't want to pay like if I pay a listing agent, that's 3%. If I pay a buyer's agent, that's another 3%. I can just cut the buyer's agent off right there and I just save 3 grand. Like maybe yeah, I'm cut off from some of the market, but I mean I'm doing a lot of marketing too. So
Yeah. Yeah, and you make a really good point. You're doing a lot of that marketing to yourself. And I want to share this too with you as well. If you and again, I'm not here to tell you, and again, I'm just here to provide information so that you can make the best financial decision for yourself. So let's say that, I mean, you do decide not to pay a commission. Well, in effect, then you're limiting the exposure of your property. No matter how much marketing that you do, no matter how many like flyers you put out, no matter how many people you have showing or making calls, you're still limiting yourself from 92% of that market. And so what do you think happens to the price of your home if you're not able to reach 92% of the buyers that are out there?
I mean I see what you're saying. But I mean it's still a house, right? I mean all you need is one buyer. So I mean even if you only have 8% of the market or 10% of the market, right? I mean Well, it's not like you need everybody to want to buy your house.
You know what? That's a great point. You only need one buyer, right? And you don't need
Yeah,
everybody trying to buy the house. But
only one
and
person's going to buy it. So
yeah, you just need one person to buy it. And here's the thing: to find that one person who's going to buy it, do you think it'll be easier to find them in that 8%, or it will be a lot easier to find them in that 92%?
I mean, the 92% for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be a lot easier. And it's just at that point it becomes a numbers game. Like, absolutely, at the end of the day, there is a single buyer who's going to buy your house. However, the numbers, it's a numbers game, and it's more about exposure and making sure that all the capable all the buyers who are capable of buying your home, that they have the actual ability to do so. And the only way to unlock that ability is by working with an agent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Just a lot of
Yeah.
money. So
And it is a lot of money. But if you think about it, if you're thinking about it as from the perspective of, I don't want to go with this. You know what? You're absolutely right. It is a lot of money, but think about this. And at the same time, think about this, Evan. By investing that money up front, you'll be able to get the price that you're looking for. Because without that investment, I mean, again, it may not be 26%. I mean, I can show you studies how here in the local market, it's actually closer to 12. I don't know. I'm trying to make it. It's closer to like 12 to 15%.
you do.
It's closer to 12 or 15%. But if you kind of compare it, I mean, wouldn't it make sense to spend that 3% so you don't lose out on that 10, 15% of your purchase price?
Yeah, that would make sense. But it's just hard for me to base my paying 3% just based on a studies that say I'm going to sell my house for so much less. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I
there's a
know.
lot of statistics out there. So
It is a lot of statistics, and I agree. It's, again, you don't want to base your decision off statistics, and more so you want to base your decision off of what is going on in the market. And I mean, you would agree that most of the sales that you see out there, they are agent assisted, correct?
yes, definitely.
Absolutely. And most of the buyers that are out there, would you agree that they are working with an agent?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. Then they
Everyone I know
are
is
working
working with an agent. So
exactly. And here's the thing too. And I know that you mentioned that you don't want to pay commission to either a buyer's agent or a listing agent. And I think that's for that reason that buyer's agents with for sale by owners, they actually tend to avoid them altogether. And that's what I'm sorry. I'm like, oh my God.
you're good.
Dude, I didn't even follow the script. Oh, this is like, okay, let's do a check-in. Yeah, I just need to know this script because I don't know it.
I mean, to me, it seems like you're killing the shit. So I don't know where you're planning on, if you're doing what you're planning on doing, but it seems like it's going really good.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because like I think that's where I get stuck is they're like stuck on the statistic. And then I was gonna just go into like, okay, well, here are the other problems that you have. Most buyer agents, they don't go to for sale by owners because most of them, I mean, I know you're serious, most of them aren't serious. And then also by working with, no matter, even if you don't have an agent, even if a buyer's agent comes in and represents that buyer, they actually, the way that California laws are structured, they actually take on a certain financial and legal liability in transacting with you. And a lot of agents and even their brokerages, they actually don't allow them to take that on simply because it exposes them to potential legal troubles. I mean, again, nothing to do with you specifically. It's just that's something that you are working against, that is working against you and against the sale of this property. And then I go into, and then I, check in on that. Yeah. And then I don't know. I think I just have to like,
So so all of that's really good to me. I mean,
okay.
especially the way you're saying things. There's a lot of conviction in your voice.
Okay.
I think part of the issue is maybe, and I've said it, listen to the phone call, was over the phone, it's a lot harder to can persuade someone than it is in person or even over Zoom.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that played a big role.
Yeah. That's a
And
good
as
point.
far as staying on script, I thought you're handling all my objections and all my bullshit like really well, and yeah, I thought you did really good. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, because it was like no face to face, and it was just like on the phone.
mhm. And I don't know if you notice you're doing this or not, but like you're repeating and approving like really fine. I think you're just so used to doing it that you don't even notice that you're doing it. The
Yeah.
repeating and approval. So
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
you sound
Yeah,
like
I
you're
made.
very understanding of my concerns and my understanding of things.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay. That's good. Yeah. I think I will yeah, I think I just need to push for like the Zoom or the push for the Zoom or push for the face to face. Yeah.
mhm.
Because I think, yeah, yeah, or push for Skype or whatever.
So so one thing I would say is when you said the 92% statistic, the 8% statistic,
Mhm.
to me, maybe I'm wrong on this, but to me, that doesn't really prove a point unless you like kind of dive into why that makes sense. It felt like you just kind of threw that out there and
Mhm.
then jumped into the 26%. The
Mhm.
92 to 8%, it doesn't really make any sense unless you kind of explain it to them that they're being cut off from so much percent of the market. And you did that
Mhm.
after like later
Mm.
on, but it
Okay.
seemed like you used that to justify the 26%. And
Okay.
so to me, it didn't make sense because yeah, it makes sense that most buyers are working with agents, but you didn't explain why that could be an issue for me until later
Okay.
on.
Yeah, and I didn't explain it until later on. So moving that part up, where it's like talking about why that is, because it's free to them, and that's why it makes sense.
Well, so
Or is
that
that
part,
okay?
you did that after too, which is good. But so to me, you're talking to someone who has 0 listings, by the way. So keep that in mind. Um, to me, it helps if I would find it more understanding if you said the reason that's an issue is because we need 100% of the buyers, blah, blah, blah. We're going for so before that, I go over supply and demand. And
Okay.
then,
Oh.
I'll go over 90%. The reason that's an issue, we take a step back. We're just talking about supply and demand. We're only getting 8% of the market. There goes our demand, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. I think that's a good observation. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think that's exactly what happened. It was like, I didn't know the script and I was just like, 8%, 26%, and like just throwing that stuff out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also, so when I asked if that was why, you said, yeah, that's the reason why. I think it's hard for them to accept if you say if you imply that that's the only reason why. Um,
Mhm.
make sure they understand that, yeah, that's a big number because there's a lot of reasons why. And that's something
Mm.
Jackie like goes over a lot. She'll like literally say there's many, many, many reasons why, and I can go over all of them with you, but we're just gonna go over the few key points.
Okay. And here, okay, so here are the key ones. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Whew. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
tone killed it, objection handles killed it. So
Okay. Oh, and then do you wanna do the second half of your listing presentation next time?
I don't even know where the hell I was at, to be honest with
You were about to get into what you do differently.
you. Jeez.
Yeah.
I think so. Oh yeah. So the issue was I actually want to restart again
Okay.
and work on my timing and cutting things down and focusing where I need to focus and not
Okay.
overlapping. So
Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Let's do it.
So,
All right. And I will see you later today at
yes,
10
ma'am.
o'clock. All right.
11 Utah time. So
Oh, I was like 11. No.
all right.
All right.
Good luck.
Cool. Thanks. See ya.